Hello and welcome back to Beyond the Plot podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I really hope that you've been enjoying the previous episodes of all the authors that I've got to meet and for you to hear their stories. I've absolutely loved speaking to them, so I hope you have loved listening to them. Now, before I introduce my next guest, I have an ask. If you can please hit subscribe, hit like, share this podcast with your friends, your families, your colleagues. It would really mean a lot to me. I love doing this podcast, and the more exposure we have, the more I can share these authors with everybody else and get their name out there a little bit more. Anyway, this episode, we have the amazing Australian author, Jodie Fitzsimons. She is a multi-genre author, self-published, and has some amazing inspiration on the ideas that she gets when she writes her books. And it ranges from young adult through to children's picture books. And she actually has a YouTube series as well. So I hope you really enjoy hearing Jodie's story. And please listen and go and like and follow Jodie, because she's got some wise words and she's definitely inspiring to me. And I know she'll be inspiring to you. Thanks, everyone, and tune in. Bye. Hi, Jodie. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks, Lisa. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really well, thank you. Look, thank you so much for joining as a guest on the podcast today. I'm really excited to have you and find out a little bit more about you and the genre that you write in. So, it's been obviously great to connect on Instagram, and I'm now really happy that we have you as a guest on the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. So do you want to give just a real brief overview of a little bit about yourself, Jodie?
Yeah, sure. For those that don't know me, my name is Jodie Fitzsimons, and I've been a writer forever, basically. Sort of taking it much more seriously over the last few years. I call myself a multi-genre author. I started off doing novels. I did YA novels originally. Then I started trying to get into sort of adult novels. And now I actually mostly write picture books. So I really have tried to do everything, a little bit of everything. I've got a Substack page where I sort of try to do more, freelance things, more about me and a few more personal sort of things that I've gone through. But yeah, I've started recently. Oh, it was last year actually. It feels recent, but it's already been almost a year that it started. I started a series self-publishing called Bold Author Budding Artists.
Yeah.
And that is basically me putting my stories out into the world with the help of Aussie student illustrators.
Amazing.
And yeah, then I published that through Amazon. And I also have a YouTube channel where I read the books, show off all the illustrations that the amazing students have done. And it's just been a really fun way to try and get my work out into the world without having to go the traditional route, which is obviously quite challenging at times. So yeah, I guess for me, my story has just been, trying to get into novels. It's sort of hasn't gone the way I was hoping. I still write novels, but at the moment my focus is, gone to the picture books, and I'm loving it.
Amazing. And I'm excited to kind of hear how you've got to this place, right? So you said you've been writing for as long as you can remember.
Yeah.
Let's kind of go back to that then. So what did that look like? That you as a child, as a teenager? When did you first start getting the love for writing?
Oh, that was me in primary school. I loved it. Yeah, I've always been a big reader, always loved writing, and I think it was, my love of Babysitter Club books and the R.L. Stine Point series, all those sort of scary books that I used to read. I loved them, and I would write them at home. I had a cousin that I used to write with. When we would catch up, sometimes we'd write together. She loved it too. But even at school, I remember kind of going to the library with a few friends and saying, let's write our own Babysitter Club books. And I'm pretty sure I was the one forcing it. I don't think it lasted very long. But yeah, it was fun while it lasted. And I remember even I had a teacher that was really great and really supportive of writing as well. And I think it was grade 5. And whenever we'd finish our work, she had these cards that she would pull out and she would say, "All right, well, if you finished your work, you can choose something to do on these cards." And there
Yeah.
was always a story writing option. So I remember always trying to finish my work quick so that I could go up and say, "Can I have another card?" So then I could do some story writing. So, yeah, I loved it right from primary school. I was always writing. And I did it through high school, although not as much probably.
Yeah.
And when I finished high school, I actually, went straight to TAFE and did a professional writing and editing course,
Yeah.
and I loved that. That really brought out my love of writing and just wanting to be around writers.
Mm.
It was so much fun, and I loved hearing other people's work. I loved sharing the work and just being and they were all age groups. You know, you often go
Yeah.
into a uni course or
Mhm.
whatever, and everyone's that
Yeah.
same 18, 19. Going into this writer's course, I was there with, people in their 20s, 40s. I remember there was a woman in her 70s who was writing her
Oh,
first book,
wow.
and it was
Yeah.
so great to be around all those sort of people, and I loved it. And it was just the best time, and I remember thinking, "This is what I want to do." I only wish, though, someone had told me, "Don't just do the creative subjects," because that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to write stories, so I did all the novel writing and the screenwriting and the short story and all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. And then I got out 2 years later and I couldn't get a job anyway because I had no experience in anything. And I thought, "Oh, I was so stupid. Why didn't I do some more publishing things and some of those
Yeah.
things?" You know, Straight out of high school, I was just I wanna write stories, and I didn't
Yeah.
think about the actual logistics of that.
It's a tough industry, isn't it? I love that story though, how you were saying that it's such a huge different age demographic there because it just shows you that doesn't matter how old you are, your writing career can start at any time. You can decide in your 50s that, hey, I now want to start writing my first novel, right? And or
Yep.
short story or any kind of thing that you want to personally do for yourself. And I think that's such a lovely thing about yeah, writing and authors themselves that you don't have to do it at a certain age or put yourself into a certain box of I just only want to write this genre. Like you've said, you've kind of ticked a few different boxes. And I think if you have a
Yep.
love for writing, you can kind of express that in different ways and explore different genres and see kind of what aligns with you. So yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, you did that TAFE course, you went into the world, realized, oh, I can't get a job.
Yep. Pretty much.
So what did you do then? Did you keep writing or did you think, actually, I've got to have a bit more of a plan here and do something different?
Yeah, I did keep writing, but I realized, that had to be just a hobby that I did on the side. I
Yeah.
was working in retail and stuff casually for a while, and then I actually got into childcare because I also had a passion for teaching. But
Hmm.
of course, I stupidly left high school and thought, I don't want to do 4 more years of uni. I don't want to teach that badly, I don't think. And so I did 2 years of something that got me nowhere. and, then, and then went back in my 30s to do a teacher's course that took me 8 years. So
Oh,
that was
wow.
good. Probably wish I'd done it the opposite.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I ended up doing childcare for about 6 years,
Yeah.
and which was actually really great because, I I spent heaps of time reading books to kids and groups of kids,
Yeah.
and I was able to see what they loved to read and, what made them laugh and what made them, pay attention and listen, so
Yeah.
it was actually a really great experience as well. But I also knew that it wasn't for me. I
Yeah.
thought if I stayed, I'm not going to want children of my own probably because it was hard work. It was exhausting. Um, and then I actually moved corporate. I had a friend that worked in the financial industry, and I ended up just
Hmm.
getting an admin job, which was really great. I was there for about 11 years
Yeah.
before I did the teaching, so I really, yeah, enjoyed that for most of my time there. I sort of was able to do some communication stuff where I
Yeah.
was the chief and editor of one of the newsletters there and
Oh,
was able to
nice.
sort of do some of the writing for the heads of,
Yeah.
some of their communications that went out to the whole business, so that was a great experience too, so
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but
Yeah.
again, it wasn't what I was passionate about, but it
Yes.
was it was good for the money and it was good for,
Yeah.
when you start having kids and you actually, need a steady sort of job.
Yeah,
But
you need that stability,
mm,
right? Because I
yeah.
think we've all realized in this industry that it's quite tough and challenging, and a lot of authors that I speak to or interact with have a second job, like that, or they
Mhm.
have the first job and then writings on kind of they're doing it whenever they can, weekends, evenings, mornings. And I think until you become quite established and have a good um like good sales on your books, if you do it indie or if you do it traditionally published, I think that's when you can step aside. But it's um it's one of those industries, yeah, that can be quite challenging to just do full time and
Definitely.
know what's going to happen
Yeah,
in there
exactly.
as well. So,
Yeah.
did you do your YA novel during any of that time, or was it until when you became a teacher that you started actually writing your
I
manuscript?
actually my first YA novel that I wrote, I did during my TAFE course. So I did
Okay.
that during my I did a popular fiction class, and I
Yeah.
started it there, and I actually got great feedback for it, and I did win the first year novel writing award in my novel writing
Amazing.
class. So that gave me, a lot of motivation, and I
Yeah.
felt pretty happy with that considering how many writers there and how good a lot of them were. So that was really motivating for me, and
Yeah.
I got a great sort of referral too from one of my lecturers, and I thought, I think I'm a good writer. I think I can sort of do this. Um, but I've just completely lost the question. Sorry. Well, I just went off on a tangent then.
No, so you wrote your YA novel when
YA.
you were in
Yes,
TAFE,
sorry.
right? And then
Yeah.
did you look at publishing it? I mean, it's published now, but
Yeah.
how did you go through that process?
So through TAFE, I actually had an editor that we sort
Yeah.
of got connected to. So she edited it, not the full edit that you pay lots of money for,
Yeah.
but enough where she gave me some great feedback and said, this is actually very good. I
Yeah.
see a lot of YA come across my desk, and this is of a pretty high standard. And yeah, so I gave it to her probably a couple of times to look through and give me
Yeah.
feedback for. But of course, this was also well before Instagram days, and you know, that's where I find out a lot of my information now of where to
Yeah.
get contact, and what to do, and where to go. And I knew nothing back then, so it was very much just looking on Google, how do I self publish,
Yeah.
and everything was so expensive. And because I had submitted it out, I
Yeah.
had that letter of recommendation from the editor. I did submit it. I got crickets back, a couple of nice sort of. I think someone said, it's a vivid writing, I like it, but it's just not for us right now.
Yeah.
So, once and again, I didn't even know a lot of the publishers back then. You sort of when you Google, you sort of get those top 5 and you get a
Yeah.
couple of other and I didn't even know how many more were actually out there.
Yeah.
So, I didn't try as many as I should have, but I tried to self-publish. It was expensive and it looked really difficult, and I decided not to do it. And it
Yeah.
was only probably almost 10 years later that Create Space through Amazon
Yeah.
became a thing, and
Yeah.
I realized it was so cheap, and when I was doing it, I'm like, "This is actually very simple," and so I just did it, and it was more in hindsight, I look at the book now and go, "Oh god, I could have changed so many things and done so much better," but I just needed to get rid of it, and
Yeah.
I wanted a book. I just needed it out. It had been 10 years of my life that it had been sitting there, and I'd been thinking about it. So I just did it, and now, it's there, but it's probably not something I, you
Yeah.
know, that publicize too often because it's not something that reflects my writing
It's like
now,
your
I don't
first
think.
baby, right? But like,
Yeah.
it's hard though because you think back when you were doing it, when you published it through Amazon. It's like that's kind of probably maybe how the books looked at back then, and that style,
Mm,
etc. And it's hard
mm.
now to compare because they've changed, they've evolved so much.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and you see actually a lot of like authors will change their cover work, won't they? Like throughout the years to I think to adapt to the style, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite interesting. So you
Yeah.
finished. So you had that novel, and then what made you then step into children's picture books? Was it from you being a teacher?
Well, so next I kept going with that sort of, genre for a while, and I
Yeah.
think I wrote a whole 'nother. Actually, I
Wow.
wrote a new adult one. And I
Yeah.
wrote the whole book, and I did get it edited by the same lady,
Yeah.
and I got good feedback, but it definitely wasn't the same as when I did the
Yeah.
YA. And she sort of said to me that, you know, she almost seemed unsure of where the book fit. She thought I was sort of maybe not going far enough to be adult. It was too old for YA, and it just yeah, she didn't seem as, enamored by that one. So I kind of went, "Oh." So I tried to change a bit of it. I actually cut heaps of it and changed it, but I just even when I was reading, I'm like, "I don't think this is the one." So
Yeah.
that's been deleted. That's long gone. I don't know where that is, and then I've been writing another YA, which I have finished the draft,
Yeah.
gave it
Amazing.
to some student beta readers and got some great feedback, and that's one I still plan to rework and try to get
Brilliant.
out into the world, but I know it needs a huge word cut. It's too
Yeah.
long. There's a lot I wanna change, and I wanna try and figure out ways to make it a bit more different.
Yeah.
I just don't think it'll stand out at the moment, so I'm trying to just
Gotta get that hook.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm
Do you
still
think
working on that.
do you think you'll try and get that traditionally published, or do you reckon now that you would do it kind of for yourself, doing independent?
I think I will try to get it traditionally
Yeah.
published, but I'm now so much more open to if it doesn't happen, I'm just gonna self-publish because 'cause I'm fine with that now, and
Yeah.
I've realized, again, since Instagram, you see how many people are doing it, how many amazing authors are out there self-publishing, and
Yeah.
it's not how it used to be, so,
No.
um, I'm happy to do that again. But I did give the first 5 chapters to a literary agent when she was open, and I got amazing feedback for it. She actually said, "This is, 110 standard as where it
Brilliant.
is." Like, for
Yeah.
I think 'cause as I draft, I sort of redo things as I
Yes.
reread. So, my first draft is probably close to a 2nd or 3rd maybe. Um, and so she said the standard was good enough. She said, "I think you should put this in for the ampersand at the
Yeah.
time," and what's the other one? The text prize, sorry.
Yeah.
And so I did both of those, but, I didn't have any luck with those. So I'll still try, but
Yeah.
happy to keep going self-publishing.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's we put kind of traditionally publishing up there on a pedestal, right? But actually, I think the world that we live in today, like you said, there's so many independent published authors now that you don't have to be traditionally published, and actually, you could probably make a lot more money doing it yourself.
Exactly, and
Um,
it's faster. You could get
yeah,
more out into the world, and you can be doing so much
yes,
more, so much faster. So
it is. Yeah,
I quite like it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and it's so good now, social media, because that's your marketing tool, right? And
Mm,
once you
yep,
understand the analytics piece and getting the data and what's working, you can actually fine tune it and be quite successful that way.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So I think moving forward, we're just going to see that get bigger and bigger and bigger, and more of a platform for everybody. Um, which I love, more books for us to read, right, and more
Yeah,
authors
well,
to
exactly.
for us to
Yeah.
get to know.
Books we wouldn't have read otherwise, like,
Yeah,
there's so many hidden gems that you just
there
think, "I can't
are.
believe that no one picked that up," so it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's hard because I always think, like, how many books those publishers must receive that they can't publish everybody, and like you said, there's gems out
No.
there that might just get missed or not the right time. Um, yeah, and we've even seen indie published authors get picked up by traditional publishers, like, after they've maybe released, like, 3, 4, 5 books, right? And then they've seen them on social media, they've seen their books, and then they get picked up by them. So could could
Yep.
happen, but I think nowadays, if you wanna be a writer, you can it's so good that we've got the access to do it
Yeah,
yourself.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's so
The
much easier
software to
now.
do it, and there's a
Yeah.
breakdown of how to do it as well, so I think that's
Yep.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Um, so your love of children's picture books then, when did that start, and how has that progressed?
It Look, it's probably pretty cliche. I've heard this story multiple times, but it was mostly when I had my son.
Yeah,
I think he loved reading, and my daughter is now too. They're well, both big readers
yeah,
early on, my son not as much now, but
yeah,
he was as a baby, and I loved, as a toddler, I loved reading all the books to him. He loved all the quirky rhyming
Yeah.
stories, the things that would make him giggle and laugh, and I just used to love reading those kind of books to him. I love the rhyme and the rhythm, and I was very much drawn to the books of not so much. I mean, there are so many beautiful picture books that are sort of, quiet and have those
Mhm.
real meaningful sort of stories. But I have to say they weren't the ones that drew me to them, I think, because just being with my son and reading, I saw the things he loved, and that
Yeah.
made me love them even more as well. So I really started to get into the rhyming books, Julia Donaldson, all her books. I
Yeah.
got that massive pack of her
Like,
books, and,
yeah, we got
that's
into
just
those.
yeah. They're, my absolute favorite sort of stories, and
Yes.
they they're the ones that I sort of started to think, "Oh, I wonder if I could sort of do something similar to this." And I have to say I actually found it quite they would come quite quickly to me.
Yeah.
Novels, I could sit there for 2 hours just staring at a blank page and I'd get a
Mhm.
paragraph and sometimes. But I found with picture books I could do those drafts quite quickly.
Yeah.
Obviously not perfectly or anything, but yeah, they came to me quite easily, and
Yeah.
I just really liked doing them, and I always got pretty
Yeah.
good feedback for it. So I thought I'm gonna, keep going and see what can happen here. And because I was doing it and I did sort of send some off to publishers and I didn't have any luck. But again, I got a couple of nice rejections that sort of made me
Mhm.
think, "Oh, I've got something, but I just need to," at that stage, I didn't understand about the word counts and things that
Yes.
was, it's just a bit long or things like that. So once I honed all that sort of stuff, and I did do the Australian Writer Centre picture book course, which again, I got, I feel like the feedback I got was really positive, and
Yeah.
there were just things that I thought, I've got something, and people that read it for me always sort of said, "Oh, I love the rhyme and I love this," and I was able to actually get some through a contact, my picture books into the hands of someone at a top 5, and, unfortunately, they never picked one up, but the feedback was, "Keep sending them to us. Love the rhyme, love the quirkiness, like, love
Yeah.
the humor." But this one, we've got something similar, or this one, there was always a reason. And in the
Yeah.
end, I sort of learned through my contact that it was pretty much the only reason I wasn't getting picked up was because I wasn't a name. And
Okay.
I thought, well, then I don't want to keep sending them to you then.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
going to, if you're not going to ever choose me because I don't already have a name,
Yes.
then how am I
How am I gonna get my break, right? Like,
exactly, how do I get the
yeah.
name? I
Yeah.
can't get it unless someone gives me that chance. So
Yeah.
that was part of the reason too I sort of headed down the self-publishing route because it was
Yeah.
frustrating. I thought it's very, you can get on that slush pile and be lucky and, it's
Yeah.
happened for so many amazing picture book, local authors that I know as well, but
Yeah.
I don't know, I didn't have the luck when I tried, and I didn't wanna wait either,
No,
and I got
it's really time consuming. You're like, you put all
yeah,
that effort in, you're like, right, you submit it and you're like, now I have to wait for like a couple of months sometimes to
yep,
get a reply
exactly.
or you don't
Yeah,
hear anything. And I totally get you when you just said about the name thing, because especially with like children's picture books, we see so many celebrities release them now. And you also think like, have you even gone through like what half the people have gone through,
exactly.
and they're still struggling to get it published? And then you're
Yeah,
a celebrity who've never
yep,
written a book before, and
exactly.
in you
And
comes who've
did you always wanna write one?
yeah. I
Literally.
think they just someone comes to them one
Mm.
day and says, "Do you know what? I think you'll be great. Let's like release
Yeah,
a children's picture book. Don't worry, we'll write it all, and we'll get someone to illustrate it. We'll just put your name on it, and then it'll sell because you're a celebrity."
yeah.
And it's
I
really
wouldn't be surprised at all. Yeah.
but yeah, 100%. And
Mm.
yeah, I just, it's a really fickle market when it's like that. And like you were saying, they literally said to you, it's because you don't have a name. And it's like, well,
Mm.
give me a break. Kind of, let me show my work because I know it's going to be successful and then I will have a name. You just need that
Yeah,
one person to take a chance on you.
exactly.
And it's a real shame because it sounds like no matter what genre you're writing in, it's just as competitive as the next. And
Yeah,
yeah, good on you for like just powering through and keep going, because that determination and that willpower will 100% make you successful. And I think I'm so happy that we have a platform for authors like yourselves that you can just self-publish and get your work out there, because then people can read it and get inspired by you, and
Mm.
yeah, and you can do what you love.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yep.
Yeah,
That's what it's all
yeah.
about. Yeah.
So tell me a bit about your community, because everyone I keep speaking to, and I've had a fantastic community as well. Like I've been part of, you know, the RWA in Australia, which is the romance side. I've done the actual course that you were talking about, because the same as you, I had
Yeah.
children and then
Yeah.
went, oh, hold on a minute, my kids love reading, and I've got a real passion for this. And so I did the course and I loved it, and actually it gave me a lot more skills, because you're
Yeah.
learning different things that you can adapt. And I even used AI to generate some, because I'm not an illustrator, just to generate some, like,
Mm.
graphics for me as well, to kind of go alongside that for my personal preference. But um I think that, yeah, that's fantastic. But in terms of your community, outside of maybe the courses that you've done and the people that you've met, where do you get that from? Where do you get kind of your group that lifts you up?
Um, honestly, well, I don't know. I mean, I took part in NaNoWriMo a couple of years ago, a few years ago now, and that was great. Like, because I saw other people that were doing it as well, and suddenly there are people like, oh, hey, I'm gonna, do a NaNoWriMo group if anyone wants to join, and we'll just keep each other accountable and things like that. And then suddenly, I'm in part of this Instagram group with all these other writers we're all trying to do the same thing, just write as much as we can in that November. And we're sort of messaging, how you guys going? Is it going well? So that was really great. And I met some people doing that. And we sort
Mm.
of, there's one group I have that actually still stay in touch to this day, and we share some picture books and things with each other, which has been really good. Um, Again, it wasn't through a course, but I did what's it called? Like a mentorship,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
with author Lisa Ireland.
Oh
And
yeah. Yep.
yeah, I met some women who were doing that course as well. And we ended up sort of making a writing group once that was over together. And that was really great. That was fantastic, actually. We sort of got together once a month. We'd Zoom chat and share chapters and things like that. So
Yeah.
that was always really inspiring and just fun to just catch up. And, we
Yeah.
caught up at a few literary events together, and it was so lovely to sort of see each other in person. And
Yep.
it was fun. I really enjoyed that. But uh, most of my groups have come from Instagram or from the
Yeah.
writing. Yeah, some sort of, not so much courses, but little groups that just
Yeah.
we find each other. I'm currently doing the Write Till Christmas. I don't know
Okay.
if you've
Yeah.
got that with writer Kelly Scroy. And that was just something she started on Instagram. I think this is the second or third year she's done it.
Yeah.
And it's just, join us. We write from the 1st of October till the end of, or till Christmas.
Yep.
And let's just make some um, goals, anything
Yeah.
you want to be able to do. And we'll just try and motivate each other. And she sends
That's
out,
great.
motivational, you know, um, uh, graphics for us to use to share
Yeah.
along Instagram, and she organizes Zoom catch ups, and it's I've only done one catch up so far, but it's great. Like I feel like I'm already part of another little community now, and it's
Yeah.
just the little
It's
things that sort of
growing and growing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but it's really lovely, and everyone's so we're all in it for the same thing, so
Yeah.
it's not nothing's ever competitive, which is so lovely in such a competitive industry,
Yeah.
really.
I
Nothing's
know.
way, so
Everyone,
it's really nice.
yeah, I've noticed that everyone just wants to support you, give
Mhm.
their guidance, their feedback, and yeah, everyone's so friendly that they're happy to give you advice, and vice versa. And I think even you could be been writing for a year, you could be writing for 20 years. Everyone kind of faces different challenges and obstacles along the way, but I think they're happy to share that. And I think it's great how you can just keep building your community. I think that's the thing, you just have to put yourself out there a little bit, don't you? Like, because writing
Yes.
can be quite isolating at times. And I think you need those connection points. Like, you need to be able to like interact with other authors, and like you said, jump on a Zoom and like have a chat, and
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
it just inspires you to keep going.
Well, it's funny actually because one of those chats I have with mostly the picture book ladies, a couple of them had gone to one of the conferences, and I didn't go to that one, but I they sort of were telling us a bit about it afterwards, and they'd had a couple of meetings with publishers, and they're sort of debut picture book writers. And so, but when they had their meetings with the publishers, they were actually told, both of them, that it might be better to not do picture books. Like, in other words,
Oh,
I would find another avenue like YA or middle grade
oh,
or
wow.
something else, because as a debut picture book author, it's really hard.
Oh,
So
really?
it was almost like a, just letting you know, it might not happen here. You might need to try something else." And as soon as I heard that, that was another thing that really pushed me to start my own series, because I just thought,
Yeah,
that's so deflating. That's so,
yeah,
to even, before you've even put anything out there, you're already being told, "Look, it's hard. It might not
yeah,
happen." So
yeah,
maybe something else in your back pocket ready to go. And I just thought, "Oh,
yeah. And
that's really
a lot of
disheartening."
people would listen to that, right? And they'd go,
Mm,
"Okay, I'm not gonna be successful. I'm gonna have to either stop doing what I'm doing or completely change what I'm doing." And I think
mm.
it's hard because, yeah, you've gotta keep encouraging yourself, giving yourself belief that, "No, I can do this." And I love how you've pivoted, right, to doing what you're doing now. So, do you wanna share a little bit about how this came about and, yeah, what does it look like for you now?
Yeah. So, yeah, my series is called Bold Author Budding Artists, and it basically did stem from after those conversations. And I just thought, "Oh, that's it just makes me not want to submit anything, knowing
Yeah,
that, it's that difficult to get published." And because of my teaching background, I really wanted to get into schools. I really wanted to do the author talks and the workshops and all that. And I thought, if I can't get published, I can't do anything I actually want to do.
mhm,
And that was
yeah,
really depressing. And I thought, I need another way to do this. And it was my husband actually that said to me, "Oh, have you ever thought of," he said, "Oh," because he grew up in New South Wales, and he said, "Oh, did
yeah.
you ever know this?" I don't know, something on TV, like a bear that used to go on and read kids a story before they
Oh,
went to bed or something. He's
no
like, "Have you
idea.
ever thought about getting onto YouTube and, like, reading your stories?" And I said, "Uh, it's a good idea in theory," but I said, "I don't have illustrations though, so I don't,
Yeah.
no kids are gonna sit there just listening to my voice and see my face and be interested in that." So, I just sort of said, "Oh, good idea, but I don't think that will work for me." But then I started to think about it, and I'm like, "How could I make that work for me?" And
Yeah,
I thought, maybe because of my teaching background and because I was a casual teacher, I've sort of got a few connections in a few different schools. And I thought, well, maybe I could find some students who might wanna illustrate my work,
yeah,
because at that stage too, we were going through, secondary infertility. So
yeah,
we were looking at, doctor's appointments and possible IVF and all these things that were, excuse me, costing an arm and a leg. And I thought,
yeah,
I can't justify paying thousands of dollars for illustrators
yeah,
to do one book that might not even get read by anyone, that won't
yeah,
get picked up or anything. So, yeah, I thought, how can I do this where I don't have to really, fork out thousands of dollars? And so I spoke to a few people and sort of said, what do you think if I approach schools and ask them if there's any, illustrated, kids that love drawing, do you think they'd be
yeah,
interested? And a few teachers I spoke to said, absolutely. They said even
yeah,
the art teachers would probably be really interested with that. So that's sort of how it started. And I thought, you know what, once I've done a book, because I looked up how to publish via KDP,
yeah,
Amazon, and then I use Canva, which is my new
yeah.
favorite
Oh,
thing in the
mine
world.
too.
I love Canva.
Love Kappa.
Yeah. I've sort of taught myself that. I taught myself how to do it all, and then I thought, well, I still wanna find another way to get it out there, so I created a YouTube channel as well. And I thought, well, I can read my stories, get those out there, but I can also give the kids something, because, all kids love YouTube and love being
Yeah,
online. And I thought, if they could see themselves online, as an
yeah.
illustrator, they might get a real kick out of that. And it's been so much fun. I've loved it. I've done 5 books.
Oh,
Through that, I've sort of had my first author workshop, and
amazing.
the speaking to the art teachers, they've all been saying to me, "This is so amazing." I've had 2 schools that have already said, "Oh, if you don't have anyone else, come back, we'll do it again." Because they,
Wow.
once their kids did it, they had other kids at the
Yeah,
school like, "Oh, I wanna do it now." And, I've had students when I was leaving the workshop the other day, there were kids that were running ahead of me, and they were the ones that had stayed behind to sign my book, because I get them to sign my book if
oh,
they can.
yeah,
And they were running off and they were going, "We're famous now. We're so famous." They just watched the YouTube video as well. And it was such a thrill. Like, it was so lovely to see how excited they were about it as well.
Yeah,
And, I had a teacher contact me too and say, "Oh, just so you know, one of the students that we told what was happening today," and I told them that they'd been, accepted to be part of it. She said that she came up to her and the next day and said, "I went home and told my parents straight away that I just had the best day of my life because I'm going to be in a
oh,
book." And that just made me go, "All right, I need to keep doing this because
that's
this
amazing.
is so good." Like, it was, yeah,
Yeah,
really exciting. And I just thought if I can get even guest authors to do, because obviously I can't
yeah,
churn out hundreds of books, that
yeah,
easily, but if I could
yeah,
get, other aspiring authors that wanna get a book out there, but they are in the same boat, then I'd love to be able to
yeah,
help them at the same time. So, if I could help me, help them, help the
yeah.
kids, I
You
hope
found a
that's what.
niche. Like,
Yeah, I hope so.
yeah,
I
yeah.
really would love it to be, you know, something that goes around Australia. I've done one school in WA.
Wow.
The rest have been in Victoria at the moment, but I've got a
Yeah,
possible one in Sydney that might be
yeah,
happening next. And so it's
brilliant.
exciting. I'd love to take it national. And, I've
Yeah,
also,
you'd be jet setting
um
all over the world.
yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah, but it's hard though. It's hard. Schools are so busy, so it can be hard getting people
Yeah,
to reply to my emails, getting people to, find the time to get it started and everything. So some of that's been a little bit
yeah,
challenging, but I've just said to myself, I'm aiming for one book every couple of months, just so that,
yeah,
because I do teacher resources as well and have
yeah,
things on my YouTube and in my website that teachers can use, some worksheets and some
yeah,
discussion ideas and all those sort of things. But to do all that sort of stuff, it's time consuming, but I don't want it. But I want to keep it regular enough so schools, if they do get involved, they can keep watching it and keep looking forward to the next book.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I have to say to myself, look, I'll aim for every couple of months, but if it doesn't
yeah,
happen, it doesn't happen. I have to do what I can do.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
And you
been.
still use the same children, like, who illustrated is it the same kind of, individuals that you use every time, or do you go and find new ones?
No, it's been 5. I've got 5 books and 5 different schools have been involved. So
Lovely.
it's, yeah. So I'd like to go to I mean, it'd be nice to go back to the same schools, but I also want to give other people a chance if they're
Yeah.
interested.
Well, it's great for them because they're getting that exposure earlier on. They're doing something that they love. They can put it on, like, their application if they wanna go to, to university and things like that, or if they're applying for jobs eventually.
Yeah.
So you're kickstarting their career.
Yeah, exactly. And I would like to also mention that with it, even though I basically make no profits, let's be honest,
Yeah.
no one
Yeah.
does as a writer, especially if you're self-publishing. But the small amount I make, I'm also donating a little bit to the Literacy Foundation for Children as
Oh,
well. So I'm hoping that will also sort of bring people in, because I wanna be able
yeah.
to help, it's very much focused on dyslexic children and things like that,
Yeah.
kids that need
It's a
the
great
support. So it'd
cause.
be good if we could, yeah, give back to them as well. So
Yeah, that's
that's.
amazing. Good
Mm,
on you. Well, I hope it goes
yeah.
really, really well. It sounds like it's going well already, and you're managing your time just because 'cause you've got 2 children as well, and you're
Yeah.
doing many other things, like juggling all these plates. So,
Yeah. Thank
yeah,
you.
that's phenomenal. In terms of what inspires you then, because you've written YA and now you're doing, obviously, children's picture books. Is there something specific that inspires you, or is it an individual? Like, what would you say it would be?
Honestly, well, definitely my kids, and I think that's proof from the next book that's about to come out.
Yeah.
That's based on a a boy who has wanted a brother or sister forever, and he finally gets his baby sister, and then it's sort of what happens after that. But that was definitely drawn from just watching my kids and hoping that, my son, once he got what he finally wanted,
Yeah.
in that little sibling, that, it would, they'd get along and that he'd love having her around. And
Yeah.
so I definitely draw inspiration from them. They've given
Yeah.
me a couple of ideas for stories, definitely. But honestly, I was thinking about, that sort of thing recently, and I thought it's definitely, like we were talking about before, it's being around the certain people in the community that definitely inspires me, because
Brilliant.
especially, we can all say we look up to, the Leanne Moriarty's and the Marion Keys and all these people. You know, of course we get inspired by them, but it's easy to be inspired by them. I think
Yes,
I think it's better to look to the people that are really trying so hard
I
to
think
get
so.
across the line
Yeah,
and who are, you know, putting in all the work when other people might not see the reward. But it's inspiring being around those kind of people. But also, actually, even recently, you know, I take my daughter to story time at the library, and
yeah,
I'm finding that so inspiring at the moment because I never really like that shocking on my part, but I never really went to the library much, you know, as an adult in particular.
yeah,
And it's only been in the last sort of couple of years that I've really been going regularly, or the last year
yeah,
really, and I'm loving it. Like, I love being there, and I've stumbled across an author talk that one day that I
yeah,
just went in there and I'm like, "Oh, great timing." So we went and
yeah.
saw, a picture book author, and that was great, and just they also got a few of my books in. So when I go in there,
Oh,
they've been so
lovely.
supportive of me, and they like going in there and seeing my book there or not seeing my book there, which is even better because
Yeah,
someone's got it.
yeah,
Um, so nice being in that environment, just around all the books, around the people that are
yeah.
so supportive of writers and books, and I think that's yeah, I get inspired by that sort of thing at the
Yeah,
moment.
they do have big communities. I can remember when before we moved back to the UK, I used to take my son to they used to have like a story morning and yeah, they used to kind of read one of the books and get involved. But and I do love the libraries now, like here and in Australia, because yeah, they really kind of encourage reading and they want to make it a magical place and a fun place
Mm,
and children want to go there and I think yeah, libraries have come a long way compared to when I was much younger. They definitely have
yeah,
more events on and intriguing things for the kids and
yep,
yeah, I love that and I think how amazing for you to have your books there and you know
yeah,
yeah, the thing is, do you like everything you're telling me? I think I look at you and think, "Oh, you're really successful." But do you think that of yourself? Like, do you look at what everything that you've done and say, "God, I have achieved a lot." Like in all the different projects that I'm doing and where my
yeah.
books are now. And
Well, firstly, thank you so much for saying that. I really appreciate that. Um, Sometimes I do, and then obviously sometimes not so much. And I think
yeah,
it's, you know, when I like I said, if I go to a school or if I meet the kids, suddenly, you know, you're a rock star for that half an hour or
yeah,
whatever, and you feel successful. Or if, you know, when I see my books in the library, yep, that makes me feel successful. And I think there are definitely certain things where I feel successful, but unfortunately we can't live off that kind of successful. So I suppose it's
yeah,
hard when I'm not really making any money at the moment to really look at my, you know, what I'm doing and say, yeah, I'm successful,
yeah,
because that kind of success is not paying my bills,
yes,
unfortunately. And FYI, thanks to my husband for
yeah,
paying those in um, but look, I think I'm getting there. I'm getting to where I want to be. I hope I'm really
yeah,
going to be start pushing more for, you know, the work in the schools, and I
yeah,
feel like once that starts hopefully coming in,
yeah,
that's when I'll start to feel more successful. And
yeah.
when it's more widely known as well, I'd like to, you know, I'd like people to say Bold Author Budding Artist and they go, I love that series," or, you know, "Mrs. Fitz from that."
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I feel like you know, at times I feel it, but I don't think I'm quite there yet. There's a lot more I wanna have happen.
Yeah, and it will. I think, like you said, it's just putting yourself out there consistently, isn't it? And being
Yeah.
consistent with what you do, um, just chipping away at it slowly, and
Yeah.
eventually, you'll look back and be like, "Wow, look at everything I've done." And you
Yeah.
probably be in a position where you think you don't realize you're there until people around you start saying that you're living the dream right now. Like, and it's funny how you said about money because we do focus on that, don't we? Because we have to pay bills and we've got to have
Yeah.
a living. But
Yep.
how we put success against money, it's like if
Mm.
it pays me, then I'm successful. But actually, it doesn't necessarily have to pay for you to be successful because you're already successful doing so many different things and inspiring people around you. And I mean, look at the kids that you've got doing your illustrations and the schools that you work with and the groups that you're in. But yeah, I think we are in a world where we just focus on like, oh, we are only successful if we make money. And that could be in any kind of any anything you do work-wise doesn't have to relate necessarily to being a writer, but I think this is one of the most challenging careers that people can have. Probably similar to like an actor, right, as well, or a singer.
Yeah.
It's like
The creative ones. Anyone creative, it's hard.
yeah, yeah, the creative side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember once because this is completely off topic, but probably about 10 or so years ago, I did a nutritional medicine course, and I can remember my lecturer at the time said to me, "This is a career that you're never going to make money in, so marry rich." I was like,
Excellent.
yeah, I
Thanks
was
for
like,
that.
okay, do I change that? Like, am I in it for the right things? Obviously, I did that
Yeah.
for a while and I've moved on, but I
Yeah.
feel like this is one of those stories that you could say with being a writer. You might
Yeah.
not make money in it, but, keep doing it and marry rich and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be
Yeah,
so
exactly.
fine.
Although it's funny, yes, I do talk about money as well, but it's funny because there are people that have sort of said to me after seeing, that I have a few books, they're like, "Oh, wow, you're doing so well. Like you're being really, you're really successful." I don't know if they use that exact word, but they're like, in other words, you're kind of killing it. And it's
Yeah,
like, well, I guess, well, yeah, I suppose if I say I've published 5 books
yeah,
of, 5 for the series, 4 that are actually written by me, but yeah, it looks good, it sounds great, and, if people call that successful, then I'll happily take that. But yeah, you're right, we focus on the money in, but it is lovely for people to say that even if,
yeah,
a lot of the times they're probably people that aren't in the industry though, so to them, they hear publish a book and they're like, "Oh, wow, you must be doing really well." But people
yeah,
in the industry would probably go, "Oh, yeah, well done, but I know you're probably like the rest of us."
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a crazy world and a crazy industry, but I
It
think
is.
you speak to anybody and they do it just because they have the love of it as well, and it's a passion of theirs. And I think even those traditionally published authors, even if you took the money away, they would still write. They might not like that they have to go and get another job, but
Yeah.
they would still write. And I think that's the basis, the foundations of it. Like you've got to love what you do because that
Mm,
comes across in your books. And if you kind
yeah.
of lose that inspiration, you can almost tell. And I think, yeah, you've got to have a love and a passion for it to actually wanna keep doing it when you have so many obstacles that come up against you and probably a lot of knockbacks that yeah, you gotta be true to yourself and keep being inspired by others around you.
Yeah. Well, there was so many writers that have, they either stay up till midnight writing because that's the time they've got, or they're up at
Yeah.
5 a.m. trying to write there. It's because you're right. It's just because people love it and they're willing to yeah, find those
Yeah.
cracks where they have to do it basically.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Brilliant. Well, I've absolutely loved chatting to you, Jodie. I know your story is gonna resonate with so many people. And like you said, hopefully it's giving you a bit of exposure about what you're doing because I think it's phenomenal that, you're working with the schools and you're getting those children involved, those with their illustrations, and you're now on YouTube so people can find you there. But yeah, do you want
Mm.
to share where else the audience can find you?
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, you can find on YouTube. You can look up Bold Author Budding Artists, or you can look up at Mrs. Fitz Books. Because that's the name I go by for my writer teacher name, Mrs. Fitz. Kids find it hard to say Fitzsimons, so I just Mrs. Fitz is fine. Um, or I'm mostly on Instagram, so that's the best place to find me. So that's just Jodie Fitzsimons _author, and I also have a Facebook page, Jodie Fitzsimons author, and a website too, just jodiefitzsimons.com. So if you know my name, Jodie Fitzsimons, you should be able to find me somewhere.
Find you.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, look, thank you so much for being a guest today. I've absolutely loved it. I've loved hearing your story. And yeah, I can't wait to kind of see what you do next. And yeah, I'm sure everyone's going to really enjoy listening to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Jodie.
Thanks, Lisa.